difficult because, you see, after the war, it seems that everybody doesn't want to do anything again. If you watch in 1993 when MKO Abiola won the election, and everybody knowed and then ran completely away from here and then went outside and stayed for as long as he wanted, he came back. Not that he was going to, when he came back, he had people behind him and all that, but he just came back. And then what he should have done at that time, our people will say, when the knife is hot, instead of you to use it, you allow it to cool, then you come to use it and then do something. Now, he started pushing, no, give me my mandate. Who will give you your mandate? That's why Abacha asked at that time, am I the one that annulled it? That is the kind of fashion Nigeria is trading on. And for me, I think such lethargy will never materialize. And if anybody thinks that it will be magical to have Nigeria of anyone's dream, I think the dream will continue.
All right.
Without realization.
In wrapping up on this segment, let me read the last piece on Luke Onyekakea's piece here, Reflections on Visionary Leadership. And he says, here in the last bit of it, since 1999, when the present political dispensation began, there is a new political culture that produces to rule the country to propagate their pragmatic agenda for national development. Today's politics is characterized by godfathers and imposition of leaders who are devoid of acumen and vision. The result is that people get into leadership position without having the slightest idea of what to do. They occupy the seat while waiting for people to tell them what to do. For instance, the setting up of committees to review what is on ground and prepare a plan clearly shows that the leader has nothing to offer. The politics that goes with such committees frustrates whatever the intention might be. A visionary leader knows clearly what he is out to accomplish. If anything, he might set up action committees to implement different aspects of his vision.
Simple.
What would have happened, for instance, if Chief Obafemi Awolowo had become the president of Nigeria? I don't think he would have started by setting up committees to tell him what to do. With a clear vision on free education at all levels, there would probably have been committees in the states to implement the program. Since the country is financially buoyant, all that will be required was to ensure that all the loopholes for corruption were plugged. Once that was achieved, the multi-billions that were being stolen by politicians and their cohorts will have been channeled into purposeful educational development at primary, secondary, and tertiary levels and infrastructure development. There would have been no rots in all sectors as we have them today. Having lost all the great opportunities in the past, Nigeria is today facing hard times. From whatever angle one views it, the country is in dire straits. There are mounting social, political, and economic challenges confronting the country. With such dire situation, President Buhari is like a captain of a drifting ship. It is akin to an emergency situation. When a ship is adrift at sea, you don't go about setting up committees to decide how to salvage it. There is no time. There are many issues that need urgent attention in the country. Buhari should try to solve one or two before the whistle blows. The most urgent thing that needs to be addressed within this short time is electoral reform. If there is a solid law that governs the conduct of elections in this country, then we will have taken one step forward in the right. Good electoral process will throw up capable and visionary leaders that will steer the ship of the state in the right direction. That is the truth of the matter. And that's how we wrap up on that part there, visionless leaders. And it's just, brings the bile to my mouth when I think about it and how they will continue to occupy that space if we as a people think that we're too handicapped to do anything about it. And I'm not calling for any revolt. No, far from that. I don't think for me that that is the answer. I think that we can achieve certain things if we put our minds to do it. I think that for us, we're just thinking we need to do it right now, and therefore revolt. I think not necessarily. I think that there could be a steady and slow process to getting it right. And what we need to do in starting to do that is educating ourselves on what must be, what is obtainable, how to obtain those things. And so that everybody who comes to us in sheep clothing, we can easily unmask and know that they are indeed the wolf from that 070-1933-9962. We're particularly looking at visionless leaders. We looked at 3 stories, merged them all because they all seem to be hitting at the same spot. We looked at one that says generations gone, the outgoing generation, sorry. And then we looked at another that said Amechi is so cold. And then finally, reflections of visionary leadership. All these stories interchanged to bringing us that thoughts on visionless leaders. We'd like to hear from you on that. 070-1933-9962. And really, I would like for a more solution-based correspondence on this. What do you think should be the solution? How do we get out of this conundrum? And then also, you can go on our Facebook page, which is Today95.1 FM. Like that page, and let's get to hear from you on this. Tweet at us. Our Twitter handle is @TodayFM951. @TodayFM951.
They follow us.
Today, 9:45 a.m. to 11 a.m. Real talk. Keeping it real.
Wake up to today's quest.
Wake up.
All the news and information you need in one go. Get started with the best of sports, lifestyle, analysis, and Annie.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Can you feel it? Wake up to today's quest with Annie on Today 95.1 FM from 6 to 11 a.m. weekdays.
The voice of the people.
All right, it's 39 minutes after 10, and it's time for Real Talk. For Real Talk, we're looking at a stampede that happened at a certain place where palliatives were being shared out. This was at Elele. We understand that the stampede led to the loss of lives and left several others hospitalized at a venue where River State government palliatives were being shared in Elele community in Ikwere local government area. And this is generating controversy as we speak. Our correspondent gathered that the committee in charge of sharing of the palliative sent by Governor Nyesom Wike in Elele town was taken to the compound of Mike Elechi for distribution when the stampede occurred. The paramount ruler of Omokwiriku Eze Okechukwu Oka, who spoke to our correspondent on the incident, alleged that 2 people, including a 60-year-old woman and the pregnant woman, died at the stampede, which he said was avoidable if the committee had managed the process well. Okechukwu blamed the incident on selfish interest of a particular politician in the community, saying it was wrong for someone to drag a palliative that was meant for a community of over 14 villages to his house, which he said was aimed at scoring.
Yes, that is clear because of the lockdown. But governor has a good intention. He has a very large compound, that is okay. But if everybody is allowed to enter the compound and observe the social distance, I don't think such stampede would occur. My palliative was given before the state government started giving palliative. And a lot of women came to my compound. There is this, we maintain what we call social distance. And allow the women, I have a very big compound, allow the women to come in and stay group by group. And this thing was given to them gradually until we gave to everybody. That is perfect. Governor did not think about PDP or...
On his part, the chairman of the Palliative Distribution Committee in Ikwere local government area of the state, Jacob Amadi, who also had the mandate of Mike Kelechi to speak, acknowledged that the stampede occurred at the venue but dismissed reports of more than one person dying.
Now, on that very day, we thank cried. See, food will be distributed, though. The time of distribution was 7 o'clock. But I want to tell you that by 4 a.m. of that early morning, people were already gathered and we printed tallies. Now, what we decided was 7 o'clock. So by sharp 7, we started issuing our tallies in 20s. The first 20 will enter. They'll pick their food item and pass through the other. Now, by exactly 8:10 or 8 o'clock, somebody who was outside ran in through the gate and came to me and said, Oga, people are falling down there at the other side. I said, where? And so when I got there, I saw 4 women on the ground, PTH. What I did was, I now brought my car, my own car, and I asked one Odinaka Okoro. I went there and put all the women in the car, and I gave Odinaka, and I brought her 20,000. And I gave to Odinaka, say, rush them, tell it. It beats my imagination. That when people are reporting, they are saying that 2 persons died, and the pregnant women did that, and that chief that they died inside vintage gate. My brother, that can never be true.
Well, our correspondent gathered that the matter has been reported to the Commissioner of Police in River State, Joseph Gobomukan, who we hear has reached out to the committee in charge of distribution of palliatives. I think that during this period where we've seen palliatives being distributed and shared, we've continually spoken on how and there's one I particularly saw where people were just running around the vehicle, and from the vehicle or the truck itself, they were just, throwing out food items to them. If why we're even sharing the food palliative, first of all, was because we asked people to stay at home and we're trying to make sure that we do not spread coronavirus. What I saw from that picture was just like the epicenter for coronavirus, if that was anything to go by. I have always felt that some of these people who are in charge do not think through with certain things. He mentioned the fact that there's a huge compound, and he said we'll start sharing food by 7. And then there's several villages in that community. I just felt that what was smart will be that each village center will perhaps have a distribution spot. If there are 11 villages, one village will have a distribution spot so that you have less number of people who are gathered there. And then you can also further divide this further, how many compounds or how many family heads are in that village, and you further redistribute along that line so that you don't have too many people in the same place. And then you have almost 12 hours in the day to distribute. And so you can say, well, this group and that group can come between so and so hours. And this is how you will stand even outside the gates before you proceed, so that there is a queue and people are properly interspaced before they actually approach where the food distribution is going on. But we don't want to think this through, which is just synonymous with so many of our leaders. It's like it's a difficult task. Why do we have to? Everybody come here, and we think that the period where we want to practice social gathering is just at the point where they come in to take the food. But when they're outside the gates waiting for us, what's going on outside that gate? They're pushing, shoving, stepping on each other, probably almost standing on each other. That's what we're trying to avoid. Why is that not being considered?
You see, and it's unfortunate that somebody died, because one thing, we may not know the details of what happened there. Like this other person was saying, complaining because some others say 2 persons lost their lives. For him,
one person.
It's just one person. Then you are very much okay with him. But I tell you, one fact that we know, which cannot be discounted by anybody, is that there was a stampede there. And I'm asking the question, why must a palliative given by the governor of River State to be shared be taken to a compound, even if the compound is a school compound? You take it to that single compound. Are you now telling me that you forgot to know that this kind of thing could happen when people are sharing? You see, if they are watching and what we are sharing is about to finish, and there are still scores of people outside that have not got their own, to them, they've been shortchanged. They will use the head and push the gate. And in that wise, the social distancing, everything about the coronavirus that necessitated the lockdown in the first place will be ignored. And who also said that after sharing of palliatives, that people cannot go down with coronavirus at home, having contracted it from one another and all that. You see, I don't know how this for them that will go, because me, it is better I'm hungry and I'm alive than to go in this kind of situation to start rubbing my body with another person to the point that I will go and then enter into that place with everybody coming at the same time. If one person died, is that not enough to worry persons? Why should it be organized in a way that somebody will die? Well, a community, so that people will not.
Several points, not
I
one.
tell you, several points, and the people will receive their own. Whatever is going to be due them, they will receive them and go back home. Because I know that the palliatives are meant for people to live, eat and live, and not to die even before the COVID comes. Look at what has happened. That particular person, whether pregnant or not pregnant, the person remains that so that people who are coming there are looking for palliatives to reach them so that they eat and remain alive, running away from, you now buy it, as it were, from the sharing point.
But you know, again, you have the governor of River State when he criticized the federal government's modus of sharing palliatives, when he said they were buying it from their federal government cronies, that what they needed to do was give states, and states will purchase the food items for her citizens. Well, I thought that will be applicable. That'll be what we'll see too when it comes to River State, right? That the state government will not be directly involved in sharing. Not what will you expect you will see?
Now, from his comment, that's what one should expect. But
I'm just saying,
politicians, I always tell you, politicians, whatever they say, just take it for it to be going. Let the comments have been made. See, you don't tell anybody that wants to give you something what he will give you. No, you don't. Whatever he gives you is either you accept or you reject. Simple. You have the freedom. The latitude is there with you. If federal government comes up and say we are giving rights, for instance, and say we don't want rights, as the chief executive, you reject the rights on behalf of the people. Though people may want it, but you are representing them. But to say no, give us this. No, you don't tell. You don't dictate.
Or give us the money. We'll buy what we want.
You see, cronies. I will not even give. If federal government decides that they are going to buy this thing, and then in materials, and that is what they will do. See, cronies exist everywhere. Federal government cronies exist, and the state government cronies, local government cronies. What we are talking about, if you like, the cronies we are talking, maybe let's break it down. It's just those who are close to somebody. If you like, say friends, in the way Nigeria look at friends, somebody that could come close and then take from you. That is it. State governments have it. Local governments have it. In fact, even ministries have it. That is why sometimes you see some people are not supposed to be where they are or get what they should, but they'll get it with the greatest ease. And they are cronies to that person who got it.
I think as much as we want to soften the predicaments of our people at the time with this stay-at-home order and the pandemic that is going on, we must do that out of sincerity of heart, and that we're able to do that reaching out to the people appropriately. If in all of this, people are just going to, because part of the accusation here was because somebody just wanted to make some cheap political I don't know what he set to gain out of it in any political form, but they know themselves. If this is all because it takes away the sincerity behind the purpose, which was to alleviate the sufferings of people at that time. If all of that, you were just trying to gain some cheap popularity, and in the midst of doing that, you have deaths recorded. It's arguable whether it's one or two, but at least a death has been recorded. I think that, again, we have allowed people who have positions or power to continue to determine certain things for us. What happened to, or if the team that the governor entrusted with that had the right to also say, this is how we've been doing this when we went to other places, this is how it will be done here. I can't remember which place was it now. whether it is in not Ogoniland.
Is it where they gave accolade?
Yeah, there's a place where I saw pictures of how they stack the food, and it was per compound, So they stack the food in different areas, but it was per compound. So each compound will come, take what was meant for the compound, and then you further redistribute.
Simple.
But because we want to be involved in all the process to the last, because we are also thinking of how many we want to keep for ourselves. Because I won't be involved with it to the last end, if not because I'm keeping some for myself, or because I'm also trying to find some political favor or scurry something. I would hand over what needs to be redistributed by the next team underneath, and so forth till it gets to the person who it needs to.
No, for this LLA, no, it must be in my compound. I'll share it. In my compound, everybody must come into my compound and look at what it has cost us.
Port Harcourt City and Obiakpo, because we can't have them under this complete lockdown, and then there won't be palliatives coming that way. So I'm expecting that something happens either from the state government or it's happening from the local government chairman.
Is it? But one thing, you see,
we can't be leveraging on this thing that was shared almost a month ago, on palliatives that was shared almost a month ago within this region.
What I do not understand, why is it that this lockdown is focused on Port Harcourt and Obiakpo?
Because you people refuse to stay in one place. You people refuse to stay in one place.
If it were easy, I would have, during that easy, I would have gone.
You'll have gone to LLA. You people refuse to stay in one place. So this is what you expect. You get to be told to stay in one place. Punished if you prefer. But I've asked that question too. Like, what about other local governments who are experiencing? But again, I think this is where we needed information. Maybe the reasons why this is because of the results we've been getting from the positives so far. Maybe they're all from within Port Harcourt and Obiakpo. We haven't had cases from Ahoda. There's none from Boni. There's none from all the other areas. That's what I'm saying. That is, we mentioned this last time, that if we're doing contact tracing, how do we know who and where? These are the issues, Emmanuel. These are the issues. I would like to get your thoughts, though. What do you think about the methods by which policies are being shared within Rivers State? We're particularly looking at what happened at LMA. And then for those who are in the lockdown for Port Harcourt. At Elele, yes. Those who were on the lockdown for Port Harcourt and for Falga and Obiakpo. Are we expecting palliatives? Is this what should come our way? Or is anybody around these areas who has received palliatives? And I'm not talking of the initial one that was shared before the order on a complete lockdown. I'm talking of any that has been made after this complete lockdown order on Falga and Obiakpo. Has any palliative measures been shared, perhaps by the local government chairman or the state government? Because I think that there are so many people, the poor of the poor, who also reside in these areas, and they need to be reached out to. Is anybody interested in doing that? Are they doing it? And when I say anybody, I mean anybody in government. I'm not looking for individuals who have taken it upon themselves, because I know several who are doing that. But is government who has given this order interested in making sure that the very poor amongst us who don't have enough to stockpile, who need to eat daily, are being fed? This is the question. And then what do you think about the modus of distribution? Taking it all to one compound and sharing it. What we have in Elele town shows that it is not working. Let's get your thoughts on that. And I did say I'll give the phone lines when it's time to come on board, but I'll take text messages first and then open the phone lines. So the text message portal is 07019339962. And it's also the same numbers for the WhatsApp platform, 07019339962. Don't forget that you can watch us live on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Today95.1 FM. Please go on that, like the channel, click on the live button first of all, and then don't forget to click on the subscribe button. All right, let's get to... Okay, Mr. Ima and Madam Annie, I love your position and the poem. Brilliant, brilliant. Some of your inputs is recorded. To me, the problem is greed and wickedness on the part of the visionless rulers, and poverty and ignorance on the part of citizenry. They are too illiterate and docile and hate knowledge. I'm a deep thinker, come author and writer. All the best. And you didn't write your name. We wanted to know you, dear writer. But thank you so much. And this is here. How can we get it right when a contestant is already on sit, influencing both the electorates, electoral umpires, and even the judiciary with both power and money? I remember the days of Ernest Shonekon Abdusalam Abubakar, who served as EP from Iche. We were not condemning the minister.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we said this is synonymous with almost everybody in power now. They are there not because of a true vision they saw. And I did go on to say, but it is not just with politics. So you have some who could not find themselves in politics, ending up as teachers, some as police officers, some as that system has also pushed quite a number of people into politics. Because if you have visionless people who are leading us, we're never going to get out of this rut. You see, you need the visioned leader leader will have been able to provide, doesn't have to take up any job whatsoever, just for the sake of earning a living. We need to have somebody in that position who has a vision to deliver that. So if unemployment is driving quite a number of people into politics, and we're beginning to see people who don't have vision, who just want to get into that crime of no consequence, then we're never going to get out of this rut. This is the position we're trying to put out there. So not that we want to blame him. We're just saying that he was rather honest in owning the truth that is synonymous with most of the politicians we have today. This here says, Ikwe local government is under lockdown as ordered by the chairman of Ikwe local government as at now. A caller called in the radio yesterday to inform us. This is from Michael. Ikwe morning, my name is Okudiri from Pataka. Please, the man should be sued for taking the state palliatives to his house. He has negative intention. And conscience of the people. Again, the greatest weapon in the hand of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. People all over the country have really tried their best to change the country, but because the human flesh is naturally vulnerable to the power of the gun, we find it difficult, killed or sent into exile. Isaac Boro, Ken Sarawiwa, MKO Abiola, Obiwali, Odumegu Ojukwu, Nnamdi Kanu, Shoere. I'm asking you, where us and no more, then we rest on our oars. What we're saying
it
is,
shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way. But you see, the willpower is it?
Oh, Emmanuel, the willpower is not going to come from heaven now.
No, it won't.
It won't come.
It would, but
we need to will it. The flesh is weak, but we need to will it. We need to push it. Hello, Mr. Presenter. Nigeria has a pandemic killing Nigerians in high numbers. Okay, this is not Mr. Presenter, and we're not talking about that. And then Ken from Port Harcourt says, I know it might be difficult for you to understand, but the truth is that it is a conflict between the system of government and our Nigerian idealism. It is really problematic. You can't build on an old, faulty foundation. An old order has to be dismantled for a new one to be ushered in. It is a gradual process. The solution isn't a revolution. Simply legitimizes the fraudulent process of obtaining power. The people, through a collective desire to have a better future, course the kind of change they want and elect leaders who will faithfully sustain it. The existing political structure does not encourage pure merit. How then can we get our best brains to lead the country? We play sectional politics, yet kick against sectional arrangement that will bring healthy competitions. Most Nigerians deserve the rulers they have. Patrick Onyema, you sent that in. Mechi stated the obvious. In fact, most Nigerian politicians are into politics due to unemployment and of his policies, such as the creation of 2 political parties in Nigeria, the sponsorship of political parties by government, and the adoption of Option A4 during voting were visionary policies of Babangida to control of parties and imposition of candidates by money bags. Politicians against the wish of the people. This is sent by Amechi Godwin from Omunawa town. But you see, I think I have a problem with where the sponsorship of political parties by government, because the government hijacks the political system.
Of course.
And
the piper.
It's a simple thing. Whoever is paying the piper dictates the tune.
Of course.
So if government is sponsoring the political parties, they dictate what happens. And if they say this is who's going to emerge over me through this political structure, that's what we'll see. That's what will be. But if the people do, you believe in the party itself, and people are made to pay their dues. Nobody is allowed to pay above for it. Because you're beginning to own bits of it. People get to be tied to you because of that commitment you've made. So no, We will not take any monies above 1,000 naira. And if we want to drive a certain thing, we'll do it to this point. We might not have flamboyant dinners because you don't have them, and that you have more people who believe in the values that you propose. This is the idea. And if you're unable to do that without tying government to...
Turned out that WhatsApp also a product of
Yes, and demand that from the President, Senate, Ministers, House of Reps, governors, and all local government chairmen should step down. Let the totality of this government be dissolved, which I know can't happen due to our docilism. The likes of Showore and Nnamdi Kanu should have their way. That's the only hope I see, else Nigerians will remain in this. Like I said earlier on, people think that when you ask for a change, that it is a quick change. I don't think so. I don't think the people are even ready for a quick change, because when you have a quick change, you're just going to put people who are incapable in position of governance. And I don't think so. I think that people need to cook. You know, you need to stir that brew until you get to the right consistency. And when you do that, means when you have people in power, they're people who know what they need to deliver. Good morning, Annie and Ima. On the sharing of palliatives at Elele and the incident, my comment is that Elele is a sacred town. If anyone does anything wrongly, it will haunt the person. There are 4 major communities in Elele that are ruled by Nyeweli. I wonder why a chief from one part of the community would decide to share palliatives meant for the 4 communities in his compound. Grandpa, you send that in. Annie, please give me some palliatives, or your house is full of foodstuff because you're known very well by politicians in River State. My pantry is just, and then looked at the pantry and there's nothing, Emmanuel. And and John for Nigeria, he speaks for him. Almost got a job as a broadcaster. He said, so I don't know why you think this is something Emmanuel and I generated here. Annie, when you say palliative, is it 1 pack of Indomie and 1 tube of yam, or 1 pack of spaghetti? It's very unfair, Annie, on how our leaders treat us. Mick Blaze from Port Harcourt sent that in.
The LLA brand might be different.
I don't know what LLA said. Today 95.1 FM, please do call in. The numbers to dial are 0810-951-0951 or 0817-000951. Those are the numbers to connect you to the studio. I'll call them again, 0810-900-00951. Good morning, Annie and Mr. Emmanuel Ndukwe. There is something this country has been consistent in, and that is retrogression. In the 60s was better than the 70s. 70s was better than when Thomas, you sent that in. Since it does not contain any empirical data to substantiate his claims, whether it is Awolowo's era leaders or current CRA era, the author did not look at set standards of visionary leaders. To be a successful leader, you should be effective and efficient in terms of competence and character, smart goal setting, achievement plans, and core values. Again, great leaders should be persuasive, communicative, action-driven, prescriptive, exemplary in all doing the right things. God help us. Yeah, I have to cover all. But I do believe here that he has been, quarrying the people because of a particular position he wants to be voted in for. I think that it's because he has understood on board, he hits ground running. Something you wanted. You very much for your thoughts on that. Hello.
Not because they advocate for an independent party, use them because maybe according to local palace, we are on ground. You understand? At the end of the day, we end up making the right.
Sincere man. He entered politics because of unemployment, but he performed very well. I love him because of his vision and education and agriculture in River State. This is from John. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Right, Esther, where are you calling from?
Oh, you closed on board. I didn't know what happened. One of you just decided to lock everybody down.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Is it the entire local government?
Yes.
The entire local government?
Yes, from Shoko and from Idrisa down to Elele. You know, when my fellow Golo was saying that there was a total lockdown.
Yeah.
Lockdown. There's no movement. My sister, they came. So they wanted to, stay with the lockdown wasn't easy.
Wow. All right. Okay, we got your thoughts on that. Thank you very much.
for the collective issue.
Yes.
You know, there is a local advocate in my state. People say, who's of them are guy and Gabo. You know, so they are in CDP, a river state is CDP. So they just involve it. Let's see if I see all that states. Thanks.
Well, we do appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. This.
Thank you. Somebody asks you using your own discretion and not. I say I make it to not all of them. Like
Okay, I mentioned a very sincere man. He's seen where they're sharing anything. I only hear from the media that some things like that is going on. The earth is locked down, but heavens are upon are quite possible that visionless leaders may continue to recycle themselves unless, one, the new electoral act is passed into law and takes effect, including electronic voting being part of it. Two, we revisit the option A4 system of selecting candidates. Three, private candidates here. I guess that's